Alright guys, what's going on? We're here at the Live Video Game TV with another episode. Today we are at the radio station Live 91.9 FM. We're here to talk more gaming about what's going on in Ghana for eSports, for STEM gaming, and for just mobile gaming overall across the continent. So let's get to work, because here at the Live Video Game TV, our game is never over.
This is the man who runs a company that's Empire Arcadia, and they have the Guinness World Record certified for most documented winning video game team in the world. He also has a 9-time Guinness World Record. He is a 9-time Guinness World Record holder. That's incredible. Just a few weeks ago, I was making a very big deal of this story that popped up about e-gaming as well. It was about this 16-year-old kid who walked away with $3 million for winning the Fortnite World Cup. Just help me paint a picture for our listeners. How big is e-gaming, in the West and out there in the world?
Well, e-gaming is or eSports, so it's massive, but the potential the surface hasn't been tapped yet, because the way the industry for eSports is, it's a spectator sport. It's always been. The concept of it comes all the way back from the 80s. From the father of esports, Walter Day.
As far back as the 80s?
Yeah, Walter Day, he created Twin Galaxies. It was the first organization that was literally created to create an infrastructure that turned playing video games competitively into an actual sports. They literally documented all of the scores and the players and the champions from the arcades. And what really made them, Walter see for what it was, is that, when you back in those days when they was playing in the arcades, people would crowd around the guys that were really good at the video game. So it's been a spectator sport since then. Fast forward 30-something years now, people see a way to advertise to that crowd. So when you look at esports as a global industry, he who has the most people in their audience wins. That's why China came in second to last.
That makes a lot of sense. They've got a lot more people.
Exactly. They have 1.4 billion. They came in last. Well, second to last, because Africa's last coming into the industry, and now they're running the industry. They're literally number one, and they've done it in less than 10 years. But now, if Africa comes in, and we're not just talking about Africa as a we're not talking about just Africa as a continent. We're talking about Africa as a diaspora globally. Then Africa will be number one. And Africa will be the last coming in. I see India getting involved in it and setting up before Africa, because for some reason Africa waits too long. Africa kind of waits for everybody to come and help it when Africa doesn't need anyone's help.
It's probably because as young kids you're playing video games and your parents are just stop playing the video game and go to school and go and learn. It's always the first reaction. But kids love video games.
Do you think that happens to only black people? That happens to all kids. Every child went through the same thing. In China, there's a ban on video games. So it's against the law. It's a governmental ban.
So what changed for them? That hasn't ticked here yet.
They saw Chinese players in other regions of the world winning and making the country look good, so they nationalized it, and now the government and the nation supports their players. So it's the very same thing for us. Did you know that the top 8 players of last year's World Fighting Game Championships were all black, and 4 of the 8 won were all black? No, you wouldn't really know that. But guess what? The Fortnite champion who won $3 million, that's all over the place. So it's about support. And when kids in the Africa diaspora, I'm talking about globally, when we look at esports champions, we don't see ourselves. We don't see a reflection of ourselves. We see Asians, we see whites, and even on a continent, we see Arabs, but we don't see dark skin, Afro, dreadlock, braids looking, bald head black people, men and women. We don't see that. So our kids are now growing up into the sport with the ideal in their mind, the subconscious, that in order to be a champion, you must either be like them or be around them. When in reality, that's not the case. So there's a responsibility to the black infrastructure in terms of media, technology, business, telecommunication, all of that, to actually create that foundation for our people to be able to rise up in this industry and contribute to it. It only makes sense from a global standpoint that Africa gets involved, not because oh, we want to prove that we're better than everyone else. But when you bring all of the big regions in the world together, it makes the industry bigger, and that's good for business. It helps everybody.
I mean, because from what you said so far, I am understanding it as, you know, a big revenue. The revenue is mostly driven by advertising.
Of course.
And the same way China's got a lot of people, the same way India's got a lot of people now. We equally have as many people. Look at Nigeria alone.
No, we don't equally have. We have
more.
Because you can't look at it as the continent of Africa. 1.3 million here, no, 1.3 billion here, but we almost have 3 billion. The rest of us around the world.
That's true.
Some in China, some in India, some in North America, some in South America, some in Europe. So like, no, if you took all, it's like the Olympics. Take all black people off of everyone else's team and claim it as Africa, because you know that they're all of African descent. Who would have more goals?
Definitely.
Africa.
Definitely.
But the U.S.
Same way with football, right? Like, take all those players.
Okay. Take everyone out of France.
Let's create.
And would France have won Russia's World Cup last year?
There you go.
No, come on. Let's be realistic here.
I remember, you know, when they did win the World Cup, it was a big win, especially for Africa, because we identified with so many players in their team. So I totally get what you're saying. That's pretty much amazing. Do tell me this. I just want to understand how you came to love e-gaming the way you do and represent it the way you do today. What's your story?
As a gamer, growing up, I playing video games. I was never the type of guy that liked television that much. I really wanted to focus more on things I can interact with. And my father used to tell me this thing about television program. He says television program means in Jamaica, tell lie pon vision program.
Whoa.
So that's a Rastafarian thing, just to let you know. So
tell lie pon vision.
Yes. So that's what television is. It's a lie to your senses, and it's a program. So what does programs do? It puts information into you and shapes you who you are. So when you look at most black programs, they show us as savages, sodomites, pimps, drug dealers, murderers, and gangsters all alike. And what's the reflection in certain societies that watch that? That's what they reflect. So I always wanted to look, when I play video games, and I came out of the ghetto, but I'm not a product of the ghetto, because in my micro environment, I played video games. So I played a lot of role-playing games, Japanese, European, and so forth. So there are things that I've learned in the games that I picked up from games like Ultima, Dragon Warrior, The Legend of Zelda. Wow. So I've learned reading, I've learned reading comprehension, I learned critical thinking, Org Battle 64, Final Fantasy Tactics. There's a lot of things that I play, and those are the games that I was really into. Puzzle games, Tetris, Pokemon Puzzle League, Tetris Attack. So I didn't play like Grand Theft Auto, and I'll say that publicly on radio. I think that's like one of the worst video games ever created, because it's just stupid. It's just glorifying becoming a gangster. Hey, listen, it's a coward's way too. If you can't be a real gangster, at least you can be a virtual one. And I don't see how it does anything productive other than sell the fact that you can act like a fake criminal, fake Scarface, or a fake Denzel Washington from Training Day. All those other things. But I digress. Getting back to the point, what made me get into it was the fact that I can interact and I can learn from it. And it made me the person who I am. Then as I got older, I got competitive in it. And I won my first couple of tournaments, and I was like, you know something? I want to make a video game team. And I want our team to be recognized as one of the greatest teams in the world. And I decided to go from a community to a team in 2002. I formed Empire Arcadia. I got a bunch of guys in the hood with me, and all types of people. I'm talking about Arabs, Asians. Like, one of my greatest players of all time is Justin Wong. He's Chinese, American, Japanese. Because I think his father's Chinese, his mother's Japanese, but he was born in America. And so we had a huge mixed race of players. And then we have Sanford Kelly, we have Jerron Grayson, we have KDZ, Rogue Yoshi, we have Wes, we have Sinji. We had so many players, and we just went on a rampage. We won 13 World Fighting Game Champions. We just became like the best team there was. Then Walter Day, the father of eSports, came to me and he's like, you should,
you met him?
Yeah, I work with him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, well, it's been 10 years now, so I've met him since 2008. It's over 10 years. So we've been working together on the history of esports and where it's going now. And he really got me connected to Guinness, and Guinness, looked into my team and said, how long have you been playing? How many tournaments have you been winning? And they said, do you have any data on that? And when I started my team, every tournament we went to, even to this day, I still do this. Every tournament we go to, that's public. I jot down the brackets of us winning, and I get the proof of us, and I submit it to Guinness. And then that's why it's called the most documented tournament winning video game team. There are many teams that have won, but how many document their wins? Based on statistics of winning, we are the greatest team. Now the next goal is take what we've won and do something with it. And then make some money from it, obviously, because I'm older now. Before, when I was younger, I was playing. It was for the glory, for the love, right? Sport. Yeah. Well, I'm 42 now, so
I was going to ask about the revenue bit. I mean, how does that come in? How does a young kid, 16 years old, win $3 million? How does it work? The mechanics of the industry.
Easy. His parents provided him a platform where he can, what's the word for this? Expound upon his craft.
Okay.
Right. So they didn't. Even when he won, he said, "I just wanted to buy a new desk for my video games." So it wasn't for him. Like me, when I was younger, that's what it was about. I just wanted a platform to be able to play and express myself through video games. It's a craft you master. If we did that, if we took video games and gave it the same platform like that for kids and use it for education, you see the same, passion he has to drive for it, that we could use competition to make kids want to learn more because it's competitive to learn, which is another thing. That's where we are right now in this industry. We're in a time of the world where everything we're doing is obsolete. We're not going to technology and looking at technology and be like, okay, listen, let's use a technology to advance who we are. Especially, which is kind of funny because in Africa, isn't that the Wakanda way? Yeah. That's supposed to be the Wakanda way, but we're not. For some reason, we're not going towards technology. I don't understand this. If you didn't get it then, there's a whole movie called Black Panther. You should get it now. You really should get it now. If we didn't get it then, get it now. So for me, my passion is using it to help the economies of the Africa diaspora, help the education, advance the education with STEM gaming through the African diaspora, competitive gaming through the African diaspora. There's so many things video games can do everything close to bringing world peace, and we probably could bring world peace if we no more soldiers. Everyone gets Call of Duty, right? If you have a war with a country, you get on I see you on a server, I'm going to get my players, we can fight. No one dies now, it's all virtual, and you can fight. You see, so I think video games can bring world peace on top of it.
And everybody watches the game as well, so we're all involved.
Yes, exactly. And the Olympic Committee can take over the UN, and that'll be the new, hey, listen, they want fair and square that tournament. You got to give up that country, man. And that's what it is.
So you've been here 3 weeks. I'm sure you've been up and around. I did notice from your Instagram that you met the good folks over at GCC. They do some amazing stuff when it comes to eSports.
Shout out to you, bro.
So to you, the overview on e-gaming in Ghana. What's that looking like for us?
Well, e-gaming in Ghana, the potential is ridiculous because there's something here, and I mean ridiculous in a good way. I don't know if you guys know the lingo, so I just want to double check.
That's cool.
Right. The potential is enormous. There are things that GGC is doing in esports that isn't even done in the West, which is broadcast the competition on TV. That's not done. That's done on Twitch and YouTube in the West. It's not done on television. So one of the things that I like, Joseph Hundred is the guy that's really much the guy behind Kwesi TV. He has an opportunity to network this and get this. Esports in Africa needs to be on Super Sports. Oh man, listen. You guys talk about money. Oh my goodness. Esports on Super Sports will trump FIFA in real life. I'm not playing games. That's a serious thing. Twitch TV is already doing it. Twitch TV is already knocking everyone out of. If you say the Africa Esports Championships, which is a real thing that's going on right now, and you said, hey, Super Sports, we want to get all 55 countries in Africa to get the best of their players in a 55-country FIFA. You'll have to bring FIFA in on it because FIFA's like, whoa, that's my game. You guys are not making that amount of money without me involved. But I'm sure FIFA would get involved because that's a lot of money to be made. And you have 55 country kids playing. It won't even be kids, it'd be adults too. Grown men playing FIFA, and then you'd have all the different FIFA real clubs sponsoring and backing teams of each of the 55 countries. That will dwarf any sports in the history of mankind. Easy on television. And there's money to be made because people are, well, how are you going to make the money? Well, who's going to broadcast it? Which TV stations, the producers, the production units, the teleprompters, there's jobs behind this stuff. The casters, the commentators, the news that you have to put out about it between after social media. This is the power of esports, and which people are not recognizing. And the reason why they're not recognizing it because they have the wrong people doing the analysis on how esports is. They have Harvard grads and all these guys coming out of school who don't play video games, and they don't understand the climate. What they do is they go online, they grab a bunch of numbers online, they put into a PowerPoint, and they said based on our analysis. Okay, that's fine. We need your experience. What does your experience tell you? Oh, we don't have any. We're just new here. They don't work with the people on the ground floor, like people like me who's been in the industry 20 years watching it grow and understand the trends and the climate changes and the real ecosystem behind it. There's a lot of lies going on in esports right now, I'm telling you right now. And that's because those in power want it to be that way so they can stay in power and control it. Esports doesn't need to be controlled. It shouldn't be controlled. Esports should be represented by every region, every country, and every player in the world independently. That will make it a $1 trillion industry.
I like that. Say we have a group of young people listening right now.
What you do?
They're great at gaming. You know, how do they get to where you got to with esports? Like who do they call? What platform do they get on? What opportunities do they tap into to make the best of what they are very passionate about?
As they say in the West, that is a godlike question. Support your local gaming community. It's the community that matters. And I say community because the industry is not yet formed in Ghana. So for those who are listening here in Ghana, you guys need to go out and support GGC. You guys need to go out and support Anthrax Gaming. You need to go out and support Gas Bros Gaming. You need to go out and support the Ghana Esports Association, Thumbstick Lounge. There's so many out there. They need to support all of them and be behind them. And here's why you support the communities. More importantly, you do not go to the companies. The companies have no interest in building this out so that everyone can make money. They have an interest in building it out so they can make money. And that's bad for the scene. If all the players go to the communities, it will force all the technology companies, all the big corporations to go to the communities. Those guys that form those communities now become communities managers, and they can bridge the gap between the community and the industry. So both sides must come and meet up in the middle, than one side coming over to the other. Because if the business industry if the industry goes over to the community, it's going to collapse because the players are not professional. They have to be groomed into that. They don't know anything about business, right? But if the community goes over to the business, the industry is going to take advantage of them, and that no one's going to grow. So they got to meet in the middle. So for all you gamers that are listening out there, go out and support the communities. And this is going to sound bad. Some people in the community is going to be real upset right now, but I'm going to say this because we only got a short amount of time and the opportunity to say this. You guys need to support Geeks Game City. GGC needs to be supported. They're the lead. They have the TV station to help them. You guys have to support Yuba. This is not about Yuba trying to be the man. Go with your strength. Do not use your ego. Oh, why it's gotta be him? Because he's with Kwesi TV. That's the answer. What type of stupid question is that?
You sound like you've had somebody ask you that before.
Oh yeah, no, this is good. This is experience. This is experience. Okay. I could come here to Ghana and say, well, I have the #1 winning esports team. It should be me. But no, that's stupid. The clear choice is GGC. We have to that's why I'm working with Yuba. I brought some sponsors over from the US to literally work with GGC to help them push this forward. So now we're in talk with mobile device companies because we're bringing esports and mobile gaming over here. We got a mobile gaming company that's sponsoring the finals on Kwesi TV this Saturday called Color Switch, and that's a big gaming company. Most people who have phones, they know what Color Switch is. Over 250 million downloads on their game, and if you haven't tried it, go to the Google Play Store and download Color Switch. You'll see that. Yeah, Color Switch. That game is ridiculous. Yes, I'm a puzzle player, so I love puzzle games. I just came off of setting a record for Tetris 99.
What's your record?
The fastest person to get to level 99 star in Tetris 99 for the Nintendo Switch. It took me 149 days, 20 hours a day.
Yo, I love this. Gaming is so serious. It's a serious business, guys.
Yeah, it is. It really is. You probably heard this line. It has dwarfed the music and the movie industry. It has.
And funny enough, I was in a conversation with two of my partners about 3 weeks ago. We're talking about how the Fantasy Football League, the Fantasy EPL, it's actually bigger than the people who actually follow the actual league in Ghana.
Yeah. When it turns into esports, when the fantasy leagues is now based on the players and not the teams. Imagine that. So whether it may be Madden, whether it may be basketball, NBA 2K, whether it may be FIFA, any of that. Imagine when that turns over into the actual players. It's going to be ridiculous. This industry, literally, like I said, that's why I said it's going to be $1 trillion industry, because it is a global industry. No one person controls it. The only people with the true power is the producers of the video games.
True.
But that's a good thing, because they will stop any outside organizations and they will
messing things up.
And they will stop the community. No one will be able, because they say, whoa, where's my licensing fee? Okay, you guys, you don't get to. That's what Riot for League of Legends does. They go, whoa, you can't run League of Legends. You listen, they're like drug dealers. No one sells their game without them getting a cut. That's how it is. No one does that on the block. So the video game producers are the real powerhouses at the end of the day. But for them, they're governed by the fact that, hey, listen, if you don't share the wealth, we'll stop playing your video game. So there's a balance. The trifecta, the Triforce. So you have the community, you have the video game industry, and then you have the technology sector. So these three entities, if unified, it becomes the ultimate power in the esports realm, or just in gaming, period. All right, guys. So I was almost calling a surprise there, but you know, my veteranism, I clutched through everything. We got a lot of information out. I think I put out a big rallying call for the community to come and support GGC and Eubank and unite together as a scene. And I think that message is going to really bring the entire Ghana esports scene together. But we have a lot more work to do. So let's get back to the lab, chop this up, because here at the Lab Video Game TV, our game is never over.